What's up, everybody? Uncle Dad here, hanging out with the one and only, probably the most handsomest person that makes baseball hats or hats. Sorry. Let's give it up
Thanks.
for the one and only Just Mike. What's up, man?
Yes. Well, thank you for that baseball hat comment. But, I think my handsomeness might be outnumbered on this episode with our guest today.
Oh,
I'm just going to
oh,
say, I think that might be true.
that might be true. We just also had Superman. So this is like a number two Superman. Am I right? Right.
That's
Okay.
a number two.
Number two, exactly. But before we get all into that, as always, Mike, I haven't said this to you in a long time, but we got to pay the bills. And the way we pay the bills is by talking about our sponsor. That's right. This episode is sponsored to you by Bulkhead Energy Drink. Bulkhead Energy Drink is the only veteran owned clean energy drink that you can buy online. All you got to do is go to bulkheadenergydrink.com. Go there, use our promo code UncleDad10 to save 10% off your first purchase. And here's the best part, Mike, and I know you love this very much, is that a portion of every sale goes to helping veterans with their medical expenses and other things that they need at this time. And let's be honest with what's happening in the world right now, whatever way we can give back to veterans is very important. Mike, would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, especially since both my mother, father, and stepfather are all veterans, and we just had Veterans Day. So thanks to all the vets out there, and yes, buy the drinks.
Buy the drinks, and I have to say this because I was told to say this I'm told to say this because I want to say this. And my favorite flavor, I got to tell you, is the natural mixed berry flavor. So good.
You were told. I wonder who told you to say that. Well, so thank you to our sponsor, and I'm going to just ask our guest before I formally introduce them, who's an actor and has done commercials for the like. How do you think Uncle Dad did on that approach there, Jason?
That's super funny. I was thinking about it to myself. I was going, listen, the code is Uncle Dad 10, and you want to be on bulkhead.com to make sure you get these veteran owned. It's the only one you can buy online, which is absolutely fantastic. And you can get it directly to your house, right? Which, who doesn't love that? And then we're getting this energy drink that supports veterans, which is near and dear to, I think, just about every American's heart. And we all know somebody, my father, like Mike said, the family members. That's so important. Bulkhead.com, Uncle Dad 10 to get 10% off. There you go.
Bulkheadenergydrink.com.
Bulkheadenergydrink.com. Oh, for never knowing the lines, that wasn't too bad. Bulkheadenergydrink.com.
Actually, you know what? I'm actually rock on that too. It's bulkheadenergy.com. But you know what? Very Uncle Dad fashion, and we love that here.
And we love their sponsorship. Thank you to bulkheadenergy.com.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I hope you took some notes because you just got plenty of them from our guest here. How you can amp up with some energy for your commercial there, Uncle Dad.
All right, next time.
And so so let me say thank you to our guest who did such a fantastic job of just doing that, just off the cuff. I mean, that's a professional for you.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, and so he's been a model. He's been many things, but now he's gone full into the acting world. And you can please welcome to the show, friend of the show, Jason Zlatkus.
Thank you. Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Man, I love that. That was great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Uncle Dad and Mike, for having me. I just want to say that before we get started, and totally unprompted, but no one told me to say this, by the way. This is all off my own. You guys, this show I'm so honored to be on because you guys get the best guests. You get the biggest stars. I'm not kidding. Sometimes you've had guests and I'm like, dang, you guys got to talk to them. Some of them, one of my favorites of all times, I think you guys had Sadat X one. And, man, as a hip hop guy, bro, that to me, so being on a show that Sadat X was on, bucket list. Dude, totally. I win that one. Thanks for having me. All right, now what's up?
Well, now we can just wrap up, Mike. We can just wrap up. We're done.
Right? I'm so stoked, man. I'm dead serious.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it was a short episode, but it was a great one, and we'll see you all next week. Yeah, Sadat X, that was early on for us. Super cool to talk to that guy. One of the most profound sounding, voice, iconic voices of the early hip hop, right? That just, you hear his voice on a track, even if you're not looking at who's on the track, and you're like, oh, there,
That's
easily
it.
recognizable. Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
And in Brand Nubian, even with Grand Puba kind of sounding even, almost similar. I don't want to say similar, but they had a little bit of the same sort of sound in that early before you really knew who they were. And to me, it was always his stuff that was the best. And when that was back when he was Derek X, before he became Sadat X. Like, so I mean, to me, man, it's like I've always been a huge fan of it. And thanks for having me on the show he was on.
Yeah. Well, sure. Yeah, well, so okay, so yeah, we've been talking about having you on the show for a while, and you recently are in a film that you were in a film that recently came out that we got to watch, and sort of like, hey, let's get you on and talk about this film that I see you're helping promote, and
Yeah, rocking it today here.
it's a
Yeah.
it's a new film, and the cool thing was that it premiered at a film festival at Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood, right? Which is, I mean, for you as an actor to have, your face on that screen, like such an iconic part of Hollywood and film industry. And there's the footprints outside and the sidewalks, the Hollywood Walk of Fame's there, all the big movies premiere there. Like, how did that feel? And I assume you got to watch yourself on that screen. Like, how was that experience like for you?
So, okay, so right. So before we go, this shirt, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, is a promo for the movie I Want My Mommy, and that's what we're talking about here. And this is an AI generated woman. They didn't want to use a real person for the mom. They just made one on AI. I'm not a fan of AI, but I agreed with it in this instance. But these shirts are promos for the film, and I am an absolute fan for promos, so I had to wear it. Being in the to answer your question, I was in another movie at the Chinese theater, and I had one line, and it was awful. That one line was like the worst thing I ever did. Man, like watching myself on that moment, being like, "Oh my god, I'm going to be seeing myself on the Chinese theater." And when I saw it, I was like, "Well, I can't show this to anyone." I was like, "I can't even tell people this happened," right? Because I felt like I was such a bad actor. But this time around was it was different. I was credited number three in this movie behind some pretty big stars. Clayton Ferris, who was in Weapons. That guy's a like phenomenal actor, and I'm holding my own in scenes with him, at the Chinese theater, and it was like, I can't believe this happened. That felt pretty unreal. Like honestly, like as a kid, I never thought. I mean, we grow up, especially as Californians, we grow up and we know like the Chinese theater is in every tourist thing you buy. Between we grow up getting beat to death with the symbols of California, the Golden Gate Bridge and that stuff. And so to me, Hollywood was this place where it was, I'd been there a bunch and I understood what it really was, but it seemed like unachievable. And to actually have a film and be good in it. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm really proud of my performance. I feel like I really did something here. And so, you know what I mean? Like that's I guess what I'm trying to express is that it was a pretty good achievement. You know, it felt that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, the film, we could talk about the film a bit. We don't want to give too much away. We want people to go
Sure.
watch it. It's
Right.
kind of a dark, I don't know, comedy situation. But I think you steal the show. And I'm not just saying that because we have you on the show and I know you, so I may be biased, but Uncle Dad and I both agreed when we were talking about you before you came in the room here with us that, I think you steal the show. Like, it's like when you walk in the scene, it's like, well, who's this guy? Because everything just totally switches up in a more energetic way when you pop in, and your delivery. What made it so different, like from your previous jobs that you've done? Like, what do you think helped you elevate yourself to where you felt so confident and turned out such a good performance?
Wow, thank you for that. I mean, like honestly, like that means a lot to me because I've been trying to get noticed for my acting, not just they want to put me in because I fit the suit. As a model, you get in if you fit a suit, you're allowed to go. But as an actor, I've been trying to get noticed for my skills, and it means a lot to me that you say that. Thank you so much. I'm gonna be dead serious with you in this one. Okay, so as actors, we're taught to not act. Okay, like we're taught to like be ourselves and put ourselves into the character. So Jacob Samuels, who directed the film and wrote the film and produced the film, God bless him. He was a documentary filmmaker, and this is his first time in storytelling. And I was like, okay, he knows what he's doing, and I was really excited. And I met him at a party one time. He calls me up and he says, I wrote a part for you. And I was like, you wrote a part for me after meeting me once? Like one of those things you hear about that happens that never happens. It happened. And I went, oh my God. And he goes, yeah, you're perfect for this role. Here's the role. And when he told me the story, I went,
Right. Yeah.
I was all like, oh, hell yeah, bro. And then I was all, oh, good. And another movie my parents can't watch. I was like, because my mother always says to me, Jason, you were great, but it's not my kind of movie. So that's something my mom always says. But he says, I wrote this part for you and I want you to do this movie. And I said, all right. You flattered me. I'm going to do it because flattery is how I get in projects. And it hooks me.
I think that hooks a lot of people. So don't worry too much about that.
Right. So, he tells me what I want to hear and I join the project. And I thought to myself, man, he saw me at a party one time. I thought, I have to be that guy that he saw at the party. And that was how I became that character. So honestly, it's me. I didn't know I was being cast when I was at the party.
So you were really having a good time at the party then, it seems like.
I was having a good time on set too.
Yeah.
One of the things that I had heard this crazy story that Kane Hodder, big idol of mine, Friday 13th, Jason, and love the guy. Had the pleasure of meeting him a few months back, and dude, just a great human being. And I had heard this story about him on the set of Hatchet, where he had refused to sit with the other actors because he wanted them to be afraid of it. And so I thought, all right, I'd never met Clayton before. And I thought, I'll just be this guy the whole day. And I was just dicking with Clayton the whole time. I'm sure Clayton thinks I'm a total jerk because I was that guy the entire day on the set. I had the most fun.
So you were like Daniel Day-Lewis when he plays Lincoln. Like he was just Lincoln for months doing that movie. So you were just that kind of a whatever obnoxious bro buddy from back in the day guy, right?
Right. So that's funny. Somebody else called me the frat boy who didn't grow up, right? So I hate to, because this is one of those things where it's like, don't do as I say, not as I do or whatever, because I can't stand those method actor jerks. They use it as a reason to be a jerk. And then here I am on set doing it and giving my literal best performance. So, I mean,
maybe they're onto something. Maybe there's something
maybe
there,
they're
right?
onto something. I mean, but for what it's worth, I probably next time, I don't get to see Clayton very often. We talk very rarely if there's something involved in the movie, but I probably do owe him an apology somewhere along the line.
It's funny. I think one of the ultimate performances in movies when it comes to like the bro best friend guy is Bradley Cooper in The Hangover. And I have to tell you, I actually immediately when I watched it, I felt that energy. But I think it's actually better than that performance personally. And I really mean that. I'm not just saying that. It was fun seeing you because it felt very real. It felt like how I would be with my friends because I can be a bro douche sometimes. Mike knows that. And the big thing,
yeah, bro.
And the big thing that I loved about it was that you felt so real, where like Bradley Cooper I think he's too pretty to be that guy, where you're very pretty, but I can believe that you're that guy, and I just loved it. Like how no, it's not giving too much away, I suppose, but the way you introduce someone with the titty twister, right? That's amazing. Like I love it.
Yeah.
Like that's the ultimate, like, what's up, bro? You don't like that? Like, I love that, man. So I just want to say that was absolutely excellent. And you, my sir, are Bradley Cooper better.
Wow. I know. Thank you so much. I mean, to be compared to Bradley Cooper, what an idol. He's also an Eagles fan. Go Eagles. Go Birds. Proud of that.
Take it back.
I know, because you guys are diehard Niners. Well,
No.
Mike is.
No, don't include me in that.
I'm sorry. Mike is Saints, and you're Raiders?
No, I'm a Niners fan.
No.
You are Niners. I know. Okay, I knew one of you. Okay, I wasn't crazy. Mike is Saints. I knew that. I forgot.
I mean, he looks like a Niners fan. Look at him.
Let me take what does that mean? Take my foot out of my mouth for a minute though. Let's go back. Let's go back to that titty twister scene. Can I tell you that that was the scene I was most uncomfortable with in the entire movie? It's so funny you mentioned that because I hate when people do that shit to me. I didn't mean to curse, but I hate it. And to do it to him, and I even said to him, like, dude, are you cool? Like, I was like weirded out by that whole scene. Like, and so the fact that you, dude, and they, yeah, like, I practiced it. I practiced it in the backyard, walking around, talking like, like I was really uncomfortable with it. I kid you not. So the fact that you thought that was really wild, I love it. I love it because I think a lot of acting is pushing yourself to do things you're uncomfortable with. You know,
Is it weird that I would be okay with that?
it's weird that you thought that's what bros do. Jacob did too. He wrote it in the picture, so obviously he did too.
Yeah. Don't you try that on me the next time I see you in person either, Uncle
Right?
Dad.
Never, never. I
And
would never do
or
that. I'm
you.
so weirded out by it.
Either one of you don't try and do that to me. I don't like it. But that was all. But that was it was in the script. It wasn't. That wasn't you just coming up with your own parts to it, right? Like you. That was in there.
So, all right. So here's an Uncle Dad confession. Are you ready? This is exclusive content. I've never
Exclusive.
told exclusive.
We love exclusives on the show.
That's right,
Yeah.
by the way.
In that movie, I improvised some lines that I thought were straight brilliant. I was like, bro, this is gonna land. This is so good. This is in the character. All this stuff that was totally me. And none of that got in the movie. And so then I was like, oh, he hated it. He hated all my improvised stuff. And there was one point he was like, don't do any of that. Just say this one line. And I was like, oh. But so like I was like coming in as this actor. Not, I mean, there were parts where I was really like, in the moment and just added some stuff. And none of that made the cut. So all the things you see in the film are in the script. So,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Because I think I have this weird vision as an actor that I'm going to say we need a bigger boat. And everyone's going to be like, oh my God, that's the line. and I've never told anybody that. And there's your Uncle Dad confession.
Oh, I like that.
Oh.
We're going to add that to our show now.
There you go. The first one.
Now we know what we're going to use for the clip when we promo this episode. That there's a huge Uncle Dad confession, and then cliffhanger. You got to watch the episode.
That's it. I love it.
Let's take it back though, like, because you haven't just done acting. Obviously, you've had other jobs, and then I want to know how you became the actor, and you could explain it to our audience. But like, you way back in the day, you were, and when I first met you, years ago, you were like a show promoter / toy dealer / horror aficionado. Then you owned your own collectibles and comic book store. So give a brief history of like how that world was like so much part of your world. I mean, your store was in the newspapers. You put on these big shows. You had big guests. So you had quite a career going for you, and then the pivot into acting is huge, especially at the time in life when you did it. So please give us a little history on there.
Bro, I'm loving your show. You ask great questions. I'm so glad that I'm a big fan of this show. I'm so grateful to be on it. We're having a fan fest here. I think the audience is going to get sick of this love fest, but
Thanks. I mean, hey, thank you, man. Thank you.
we've been brothers a long time, and we have huge admiration for each other. And I love you guys. You're wildly successful. Okay, moving on. The question.
Do you want me to repeat the question?
No.
Okay.
So I when you asked me earlier about the Chinese theater, what was it like to be in the Chinese theater? Growing up, I never thought acting was something I could do. Okay, I thought that was an unachievable goal. I thought being a star, and I'm not trying to be a star, maybe that's the wrong word, being on, a movie star or making films and starring in films, I guess. So, okay, movie star, fine. That's what I want to do. So that's what I am, and that's what it is. But I thought that was unachievable. I thought you had to be born into it, or you had to be chosen, or you had to be found, right? So growing up, I was always enthralled by advertising and toys and comic books and cartoons and all this stuff that made me an outcast in 1983. All that stuff that nobody liked then. Shout out to the real ones. And all the stuff that these guys claim they like now. Anyway, You could tell I got a little bit of a little. You could tell my middle school is coming out of me right here.
100% true.
That's right. That's right. So I always wanted to do that, and I've been in the toy business. I was in the baseball card business prior to that, and I just love the aspect of wheeling and dealing. I get into the toy business because toys seem like they're pretty lucrative. I get in, and man, I just fall in love with it. I love everything about toys, from the packaging to the production, and I just go full into toys. But I tend to lean more towards an entertainment side. I like the stuff that matches movies, cartoons, industry. Yeah, eventually I go all the way. I'm number 2 in the world at one point for selling monster and horror toys. I decided when the internet was first born, you had to really, really focus, get views. You needed to focus. So we decided to cut back all the other stuff and focus on horror and monster toys specifically. And I became number 2 in the world for that. At the time, places like Amazon weren't selling toys. There was no Walmart.com and things like that, right? So I was huge. And I made a lot of money, and I opened these stores and bought neighboring businesses. At one time, I owned a music store. I never knew how to play an instrument. All the money in the world, man, it didn't make me happy. And I got in the entertainment industry a little. I started to meet celebrities. I started to meet these things. I started to meet people because I was so big in the toy business. And they started to manufacture toys of these people. Early on when they made the House 1000 Corpses toys, or, they would make those things. They were new. And I was getting these guys into that. And in fact, the first time I ever met Tony Todd, he didn't even know he had a Candyman action figure. I'm the person that told him that. And he was like, "What?" And that toy had been out for like years, but he had no idea. And so I was really in with them then. All the money in the world doesn't make me happy. Long story short, get rid of this. Long story long, get rid of the get rid of the stores. My wife says to me, "Jay, what are you going to do with our lives?" We moved back to California. We were living in Oregon at the time. We owned a bunch of property. We moved back to California because we decided to. I'm working at a candy store because my wife says, I said, "I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to own the store. Too much work." And so I'm working at a candy store, and a lady comes in and she says, "You want to be a model?" Man, I didn't think it was real. But anyway, I ended up modeling. I went home and I Googled it. It turned out she was real. And because I was like, who comes in and says that? I was like, that can't happen. So it did happen. And this lady puts me, she trains me how to be a model. And I start walking the runway for Men's Warehouse and Joss A. Bank, the suit company, the largest suit seller in the country. And that was the start of it. When I got a taste of the crowds, my God, I was like, whoa. And then the next thing I know, I got cast in a commercial. The next thing I know, I got cast in a movie, all by my looks. And I went, which goes back to your earlier, and see, this is like you got to keep watching the episode to get all the tie-ins of how this is gonna, come back. Right? We're writing this like a story. But one day I end up on a set and I go, oh my God. And I'm watching all the moving parts, and I'm watching this guy sleep over there by the donuts and whatever, all the food. And then, I'm watching them move these lights around, and I think I'm never doing anything else in my entire life. I can't believe I get to see this. And it ended up, I didn't even know that was the worst movie ever made. And that was like the terrible picture. And I still have never seen it. And that was like years and years ago. But
Wow.
the next thing I know, man, I start training, and here we are.
When you say training, you don't mean like, do you mean physical training, like working out training, or like training to be an actor? Like
Training to be an actor.
Yes. Okay.
And
So,
what happened was is I had done a spot for somebody, and they went, "Have you ever considered acting lessons?" And that was a harsh reality, bro, because my looks had gotten me hella far. And then it comes to a time where you really have to act. And so so to be acknowledged for that feels like a real step. So that's how I got to be, you know, and I used my marketing skills and my business skills from what I call my previous life. I still got all the toys and all the collectibles in the whole world, but,
yeah.
but, you know, my previous life is that, and I focus on acting now.
Yeah, there's some things that no matter how old you get or how mature you get or whatever you move on to, that there's some collectibles that you're just never gonna let go. I know I share that same vice. I think Uncle Dad does too. It's just like wearing t-shirts. I probably have 20 t-shirts that I will never wear again, but I will not let them go because they have some silly collectible thing that my brain won't let them go. Right? I mean,
Do you know how much of your stuff I own? I'm watching you. I own
that's
every
right.
one of your comics. I own all of your stickers. I won't stick them because I'm like, no, they'll get ruined. And I wear all the hats. I have shirts from the original Bart Bridge stuff. I have shirts
Mm.
from back then. Are you still doing the shirts?
No shirts. So keep that shirt. That speaking of
There
shirts,
you
those are
go.
shirts you should keep. Put it in the same box that you put that mommy shirt in when you're done wearing that one, so they can all be safe together. Yes, yeah, beautiful
I
mother.
know. Do you know I've never worn the shirt because I can't explaining this shirt to someone is so bizarre. But I figured we were going to do it today.
Yeah, well, it
Dude, I
works.
wanna buy one, to be honest. Let me know how to buy one. I wanna buy one.
I'll bet you my son doesn't want his. I'll bet you I could find because I ended up with 2 off the set. So
'Cause I love it. I think it's hilarious. Because you don't have to explain it. You're like, "Not don't worry about it."
Yeah.
right, I think the back says Four Eyes Films, so it's really cool.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I love that.
Well, speaking of comic, I mean, you mentioned comics and stuff. Like one of my favorite things that I've seen you get to act in, and it's like real time acting, is at Comic Con as the Hunger Halter, which
Yes.
is a superhero that helps solve, I don't know if solve's the right word, but fight hunger and food waste, right? And that's part of this group called Feeding San Diego and partnered with the Comic Con Museum. If I get that right, is that right?
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Right. We've run into each other while Uncle Dad has been at Comic Con and things because Hunger Halter only appears at Comic Con for some odd reason. Anyway, we're going to leave that alone. But so Hunger Halter is a role that I was cast to play. A lot of people think I created him or wrote the story, or I'm very lucky to get to play him. He was created through a contest that Feeding San Diego held with the students of San Diego to come up with an idea for a superhero that could bring attention for the need to fight food overproduction, food waste, and really, really fight the stigma of asking for help. And that's one of the greatest things that I think Hunger Halter does is, a lot of us, especially when trying to be an actor and live on an actor's salary, I've had to, go to a food bank. I've had to ask for help. And, there's times where actors don't work, long periods of time sometimes. And asking for help is hard. And to get to actually fight that stigma as Hunger Halter is really great. So these students created the 2 students created winning designs. It's myself and another actor who plays Demeter. Her name is Alexa Garrity. She plays Demeter, and Demeter is the counterpart to Hunger Halter. So we were cast as actors to fill the costumes. Feeding San Diego hired a guy to build these suits. He'd done work on Iron Man. He'd done work on the arm for a Winter Soldier, like, big time Marvel movie stuff. So my suit is produced by Alan Levine, and I don't even own the suit. The suit hangs in the museum, the Comic Con Museum, as you mentioned, during the off season when I'm not wearing it. And so that kids can learn about the story of Hunger Halter. And basically, Hunger Halter has, super speed, and he can bring food that needs to be rescued to those in need. He senses when food needs rescuing, and I get to be him, and I get to, interact with kids and all these things. It's so great. And they did, as you mentioned the comic book, and I'm sure we want to talk about this a little probably. This is the comic book. And the cool thing about this book, Hunger Action Heroes Unite, feedingsandiego.com has these if anybody wants them. If you want one from me signed, you can contact me and I can get you one. I do appear in the back in the suit, as well as these are the students who created the costumes. You can see that's the original drawing for Hunger Halter.
Wow.
And that's the boy who created him. And then this is what it ends up looking like in real life.
There it is.
I don't know if you can see it. Am I holding it right? Anyway.
Yeah. Very good. I think
You get the idea. So that appears in the book. And what I was going to say about the comic was the nice thing about it is, so there was no comic when I was cast, and the character's likeness of the comic is loosely based off me. So, it's not 100% me, and my hair is different now, but
yeah.
When I do Hunger Halter, I wear my hair in a more square form to look like you. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. The character became me after me wearing the costume. So I love it.
So I got to say
Yeah.
this. Is there a possibility that we can do a Hunger Halter X Captain Asshole comic book collab?
Phoenix San Diego probably would think not.
Captain A, Hunger
Yeah.
Halter save the day.
I think those are two universes that aren't able to collide in comic book world. Like the two different dimensions, too far apart, right?
Captain A-Hole's Guide to Fighting Hunger.
Even better. Even better. I love it. Wow, that's something, Mike.
Yeah, well, we'll have to revisit that later, and
Or never.
or or never. I don't know. Maybe there's an audience for that as well. But that's really great, and what a fun way to like teach kids about. Like most people don't even think about the fact that all this food goes to waste. Like the amount of food that goes to waste in restaurants and grocery stores, and if it doesn't look. If a tomato looks funky, they won't put it in the store because people won't buy it, but it's perfectly fine. It's just so many different things you don't even think about, and you teaching it to kids.
Speaking of that, Feeding San Diego sorts out everything that's inedible, and none of it goes to waste. All the stuff that's inedible goes to the local farm, and inedible to humans, not inedible to pigs or whatever. But they make such an effort to make sure that the food that people are getting is nice and clean. I mean, it's good stuff.
That's good. I mean, and it sounds like you also really love the concept of it. And so, when you are Hunger Halter, like I imagine when you're doing a part or you're acting as the character, and if you really like the message behind it, your performance is going to be that much more solid, right?
Okay, so absolutely right. I mean, man, I have done commercials for things that I'm like, you got to be joking. And that is hard, you know what I mean? Like, and I pull it off because people always write me and they go, "Jay, does that really work?" And I go, "Don't buy that."
Well, okay, so great. That was my next question. Was you've done a lot of commercials? Are there products where you're like, this sucks, or are there stuff where you're actually like the shoe commercial you did? Like, does that? Because I stand a lot, and does those shoes work? We won't say the name, but you did a shoe
Right.
commercial.
You're super funny. So okay, so the funniest I've done a couple of them that I was like, I can't believe it. One of them was this. Okay, so originally I'm from San Francisco and or that Bay Area, and I did a lot of commercials for tech products. San Francisco is the number 2 commercial market. I was really successful there. I was banging out a lot of commercials there. Here, it's a lot harder to get jobs in LA. But in San Francisco, man, there were times I go, why did I leave? If I wanted to work, I was so hot there. But I did this one where it was this headband that connected to an app, and you were supposed to focus in the boardroom before you went in and delivered this hardcore meeting. So you were like, yo, I'm going to do this app, and I'm going to be like, okay. And it could sense where your brain waves were centered, and it would ask you these questions, and then it would go, okay, you're ready. And then you'd be like, all right. And now you're all like, I'm going into this meeting. And I had to like sit in a boardroom and like calm. And it was so weird, dude. And I was like, I don't know if that product ever made it to market, because the Brainwave app, that was the one that I felt was the most probably snake oil that I'd ever, for a term of trying to make something seem like it was. I was not impressed with that technology. The other one I did that I thought, okay, I got a few stories on commercials, man, but I'll tell you the one that is really recent, because I have made so many spots, you have no idea. Like all these actors go, "Oh, bro, I'd love to make commercials," and I'm like, "Really? I'm trying to do anything but that." So, as an actor, it's weird what other actors. I hit some places other actors don't. They hit places I don't. It is what it is. But I did this one for this infrared hat. It's recent even. You can see it on my Instagram at Jason Z the actor. It's this baseball hat that infrared scans your brain to do something. I don't even remember what it did, but I'm on this podcast like this. I got a microphone and I'm talking to nobody. But I'm over there going, "Oh yeah, no, you know what? This feels great. And I love it, and it's really wonderful." And oh my god, but I got to be dead serious with you. All it did was melt my hair gel.
I think we found the next Bart Bridge hat right now.
Bro, it got hot. It was like these infrared lights. All it did was beam, and then when they took it off, I had like this molded hair gel. It was all.
Well, good thing it didn't make your hair fall out. I mean, you got gray hair. You can't lose that hair, man.
Thank you, brother. It was wild. And I take that. Okay, I stopped working for that company about a year ago. So I did that about a year and a half ago, I guess now. So, but when I say it was recent, I haven't made a commercial. I don't think I made one this year. This year I was I don't do ones that are for things I don't want to do. Like if they're absolutely like, there's an episode of Friends where Joey does a commercial and he doesn't know it's for like STD, and everybody thinks he has an STD. So I turned down a bunch of those because my wife goes, "Jay, you can take that job. They know you're an actor." And I'm like, "No, they don't. They write me and they go, 'Do those shoes work?'"
Yeah, it's true. So yeah. Hey, so you really have that thing?
Right. So you really have that thing? So those shoes, right? When I first put those shoes on, man, I was shocked by them. I went, "Wow, okay." But then when I started to learn, man, they're like 3D printed, and that's why you can wash them and squeeze them and fold them up. They're 3D printed. And after I wore them for about 15 minutes, any good feeling I had was like out of it. And then we had to shoot all this stuff, and I couldn't get the lines right on that commercial. That commercial was really tough to spit out. And they had me walking and doing it, and I just couldn't say it for some reason. That one would not happen. Like when I did the one for the insulin cooler, okay, that product seemed legit. And I actually did give my mom one of those. And man, if you watch the one where I'm the doctor for the insulin cooler, again, at Jason Z, the actor, you'll see the difference in my performance. You'll see that I believe in that product versus the other one.
Right.
Or maybe
Okay.
not. Maybe you can't. Maybe I'm that good. I don't know. They keep hiring me, so something happened.
We're gonna have to contrast and compare. Uncle Dad, maybe we could put some clips together. If you have all that extra time that you could put them together.
Because I have so
Oh
much.
my god.
Thank you.
I've never contrasted and compared them, so that would be fun to see.
Yeah.
Jason, if you send it to me already ready to go,
I could send it to if I clip them out and give them if you're waiting for me to edit a video, bro, it's going to be a long time.
Yeah.
Man, my reel hasn't been updated. I got all this great footage and I haven't updated my reel. I'm doing myself a disservice. My manager would yell at me when he sees this. So
I'm
hey,
all the time, Mike.
That's right. I mean, someone's got to yell at you. You yell. I mean, well, so
someone usually is.
Yeah. One other cool thing I want to mention before we get into the end here. You played something that was really, really neat and exciting, and you're a fan of horror, Jay and Uncle Dad. So this was probably you both like this because it was horrific. Was you played Eric Menendez in the Netflix the Menendez brothers documentary, right? It was a documentary.
Yeah. In the documentary. Yeah. So oh my god, I was like, go ahead.
Did you like go back and watch tape on them and like sitting in the courtroom and stuff to like get the mannerisms or anything? Like, how did you become Menendez brother?
How does one become Eric Menendez, right?
Yes.
So much like it's like toys and entertainment, I've always been a huge fan of true crime. Even collected it for a little while. A guilty pleasure, if you will. And so I've always been a huge fan. That's the wrong word. Okay, let's say that's the wrong word. Let's not say fan.
You've been intrigued.
Yeah, sure. I've always been a little bit interested in what drives someone.
Oh, wow.
It can't be especially, I'm sure my parents are going to see this and be like, "What is this? He's, a Menendez brother. This I Want My Mommy movie. This kid is,
What did he do wrong?"
Believe me, my parents ask themselves that constantly, and I'm sure of it. Okay, so the Menendez thing. Interestingly enough, you were talking about how much food goes to waste earlier. When I was cast as Hunger Halter, I didn't know what they were going to throw at me. So I went down the rabbit hole of food waste and was like, oh my God. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when I got cast as Eric Menendez, I did the same thing. I had no idea what the role I got cast for actually was. The audition was I was supposed to be on a phone, okay, and they were going to blur my face, and I was supposed to be on a phone, so they wanted it to look interesting like I was on a phone. Then they asked me to turn around. They wanted to see the back of my head. At the time, if you can imagine that my hair is kind of cut like square, and Eric's hair is more I don't wear it that way when I'm not doing a character. This is how I wear it when I'm Jason, but when I'm doing a character, he tends to be a little more square, a little more business looking. And Eric has a little bit more of a square haircut. So I uh am I supposed to look at that? Sorry, I got distracted. Am I supposed to look at this chat thing? We can edit that. So
I just threw me off. I was like, what?
okay, I got distracted, guys. The chat thing went off. Okay, back to what I was saying. So my audition was the back of my head on the phone and this whole thing. So I had no idea what I was getting into. The audition was like, I don't know, 9 months. I never heard anything. 6 months go by. I don't hear anything. The next thing I know, I see the audition listed again. So I write them and they go, are you still available? And I went, yeah. And they went to, well, we want you. And I was like, why didn't you contact me? Like, Hollywood makes no sense. So I ended up going there, but I didn't know what I was getting into. So prior to that, this is to answer your question, Long.
Well,
I'm a good talker. You guys know that. I studied everything about Eric because I wanted to know. And much like the movie, I Want My Mommy, I needed to know what direction this documentary was coming from. Is this coming from I asked Jacob a lot of questions about this movie before I was in it. You'll see why. I needed to know what was going on in this, why it was written, how it got written. And so I was worried about playing Eric Menendez in a way that would, um, could potentially make me look really bad or make him look really bad or just anything. And what I ended up finding out, and a lot of people ask me this is do I think they were innocent or do I not, right? And a lot of people ask me that because I really did study it. And I think that they've regardless of what may or may not have transpired, obviously there's two people are dead. I think they've served their time. Yeah. And I think that regardless of the crime, I think that they've been in there 37 years. And watching their behavior, the documentary is told from their point of view. So I don't speak in the documentary. I ended up being essentially the body double for Eric because they weren't allowed to film in San Quentin, which is where they were, or in prison. They weren't allowed to film in there. I don't know if they were San Quentin at the time, but I think they were. At the time we shot it, I think they were in San Quentin. And they couldn't get in there to film. So I play Eric in all of the prison scenes. And in the scene where he's reading the letter from Eric, that's the scene specifically that it's me. And so I got to know them pretty well. And it's their words in the documentary. Please, I believe it's, man, I think I would have let them out. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't believe they're a harm to society. I definitely don't, or would harm society or could be a detriment to society at this point. And after playing him, and the guy who was Lyle, we shot tons and tons of scenes together, and none of those got in the movie.
Mm.
And I'll tell you if you got time, I'll tell you a really funny story. So the guy they got to pick, Lyle, was like 5'10". Now I'm 6'4", and Eric is 6'2" or something, 6'1". He's pretty tall, but not quite me. We have this scene where we hug, where me and Lyle meet each other again in prison, where after 25 years or something, the Menendez brothers were in the same prison again. We do this whole hugging scene where and because he's so small, they make him walk on, well, I mean, because he's shorter than me. They
Mm-hmm.
make him walk. They make him walk on these apple boxes, apple crates we call them. They make
Mm-hmm.
him walk on these apple crates the whole way to like walk and hug me. Bro, I was never more embarrassed for another man. I was all, my God. And then we had to hug for what seemed like an eternity. Bro, I've never hugged my wife that long. And I'm hugging this man, and they're like, hold it, hold. Because they're gonna overlay Eric and Lyle's words over the scene of us embracing.
Mm.
I'm giving this man the hug like I haven't seen my brother in, 25 years. And that scene does not even make the movie. Bro, it was like, why did I have to do that over and over?
But you know what? I'm going to bring an apple box with me the next time I know I'm going to see you, because when I give you the pound and the hug, I feel extremely short. And I'm 6'1". So I now know what to do to bring an apple box to a con, right, Uncle Dad?
Yeah,
You got to start walking out with an apple crate, right?
Before we wrap up here, I wanted to ask, because you mentioned that you were, it all ties together when I say this. You mentioned that you used to be in the sports card game, correct?
Yeah, oh yeah, big time. And I follow it tight. My wife is so sick of hearing about values of.
Okay, so do you
Mike knows.
do you know this then? Because you're part of the Menendez history now. Do you know about the Menendez NBA card?
Absolutely. It's okay. It's oh my God. Okay, so I could see it in my mind.
Break it down.
And so okay, so it's an NBA hoops, and it's Mark Jackson. It's Mark Jackson. Yeah, and they are sitting courtside because so this is one of the things I disagree with. Okay, so this is I'm glad you brought that up. They started blowing through their inheritance, and they bought all this stuff, and they bought courtside tickets. That's them down there on the right.
I've seen that online. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
They bought courtside tickets to the Knicks game, and they got photo. And that's one of the things they used against them in the court, was that they went on the spending spree and they needed the money real bad. But I can tell you, man, that is out of context. It's twisted. I'm not saying that they didn't spend the money, but I'm saying they spent the money out of grief. They spent the money out of the fact that they were so confused. And I know a lot of people might disagree, but I know them pretty well. You know what I mean? And that card specifically, man, I love that thing. I've had it before. I've sold it. It's one of those things that comes and goes in my collection. But I do, since I've been Eric, I have started collecting anything related to the. Well, I've become a little bit like, I feel like it's so strange, man, because I feel like part of the family, even though I'm not, even though I have nothing to do with it. But I am on the IMDb above like Janine Pirro and all these other people that are big shots, man. And that's pretty great, man. That's a wild feeling. It says this is a wild feeling when you Google me. It says when you Google Jason Zlatkus, and the whole audience should Google Jason Zlatkus, that's Zlatkus. When you Google Jason Zlatkus, or follow me on Instagram at Jason Z, the actor, it says people also search for Eric and Lyle Menendez, and that is something I will never get over. Being associated with that.
They probably do a compare and contrast. They put your photos together and see the resemblance there, right?
If I do my hair the right way, you would see it.
Okay. Well, next time we have you on the show, do your hair the right way, and then we'll interview you. We'll interview you as Eric. How about that?
Well, to see me the right way, you have to buy a ticket for that move.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So, I got to say, what a fun time it's been, but we got to wrap up. Thank you I was going to normally do the thing where can they connect with you, but you did that all for me. So thank you.
He's a professional.
Yes.
I could sense it.
I think we're going to end with this, though. I love that you can be the man who is, an alleged murderer, but you can also be the man who grabs another man's nipples, and that's okay, man. And I love that. It's true versatility. So
let me just say one more thing. I have a movie it's in development. It's coming out shortly. It's called Dinner with the Devil. I play the devil. It's never. You want to see me be me? It's coming.
With the devil. Hey, okay, right. But he helps halt hunger, and he's also the devil.
There it is.
My main question, my last and final question for you is, what was the line that you said in the movie that was at the Grauman's Theater that was so horrible? What do you remember the line? Can you deliver the line and do it better now?
Okay, so the line was, okay, so here's how I did it in the movie. The
Okay.
line is, you don't say. Okay, I'm at a pub.
Wow, that's a quote. You don't say, and then whatever your character's name
You
is.
don't say. And I'm in this scene with a bunch of art critics, and they're talking about how this girl wrote this play and she starred in it. And I'm supposed to go with a toast. I'm supposed to go, you don't say. And then we have like a toast. But what I do is go, you don't say. Like that. It's and my wife is like, why did you take such a huge ass gulp of the champagne? And I was like, so how I should have done it was, you don't say.
Wow.
How much you've progressed. The training is obviously shown here, right?
There you
We
go.
saw
I
it.
mean,
We
because
saw it.
then what I learned was you don't, because they hear you gulping as we have through this whole entire podcast. But
Yeah.
I learned that they don't even, they go,
Yeah.
and that's
Well,
it. Yeah. And and so that movie taught me how to be a better actor.
You don't
we're
say.
always learning. Wow. Hey, now I know what I'm gonna have to say to you every time I see you from here on out. I mean,
Do
just
not do that. We don't need to start any new traditions of apple crates or
Do it.
no. That's all. That's all fun and games for the show, but we'll
And
see.
of
We'll
course,
have to surprise you with something, at least.
you guys are always the best. I love seeing you at shows. I love your show. You know, to quote the great Eddie Murphy performing Muhammad Ali on SNL, I like your show. I like your style.
Yeah,
There you
there
go.
it is. There it is. Say no more.
There it is.
All right, everybody. What?
That's also the first time I've ever done that impression in public.
Wow.
Eddie Murphy doing Muhammad Ali.
You don't say.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
say.
Okay.
My pleasure, you guys. Always great to see you.
Thank you so much, Mike. Before I wrap up, do you have any last words?
I think if I say it one more time, it's going to be not funny, so I'll just let it go. But yeah, thank you, Jason. It was great to finally have you on the show. Thanks for taking the time, and you've had some great stories. And we'll see you next week.
Well, we're not uncles, we're not dads.
God, I need to study my. See, I need to study my
I thought I was
life.
supposed to say at the movies.
No.
I'll see you
Like, what
I
at
don't
the
know.
movies.
what are you doing?
Watch my movie. I want my mommy. Google it.
Google
I
it.
want my
dude.
mom.
Mike, let's
Yeah.
try it one more time. Here we go.
Okay.
We're not uncles, we're not dads. We're just someone you can talk to, and we'll see you all
Great job.